So today we have one of our very own health science professors, Michele McCarthy, and today we're going to be asking her a few questions regarding her sweet pup who we have here today as well. So Professor, tell us a little bit about how you first came in contact with Miley.
So Miley was at the Santa Cruz County Animal Shelter, and she had an owner who beat her so bad that the owner is never allowed to have animals again. That's how severe it was. And she was very frightened of people, and she had a broken jaw. And so I decided to rehabilitate her, and we call it a foster failure because I fostered her and adopted her.
Oh.
So I didn't truly foster her. She was an amazing dog. She was so scared of people, never had a toy, didn't know anything about how humans could be nice.
Yeah, and I know I had you last semester, and I noticed how upbeat and how much more comfortable she actually is now than she was when I first met her. And I think that is so great. It really shows how much you've actually helped her. So tell us, how has your experience been like, just like dealing with her on a daily basis?
I think she is one of the most incredible animals that I've ever had. She goes with me everywhere. So when I teach, she's in the car.
Yeah.
When I work at my other jobs, she's in the car, or she actually goes in. Because I work at the animal shelter, she goes in there in the clinic and is with me. So by giving her all these experiences and reinforcing that humans are really good, she started to come out of her shell. And as soon as I saw that, I am so inspired by her. She's never given up on a human, and so that inspires me.
That's awesome. I know from having you for 2 semesters that you rehabilitate more than just Miley. You constantly talk about all these animals that you help, and can you tell us a little bit about that experience? How did you first come wanting to rehabilitate animals? How did you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
So this one summer a few years ago, I had plenty of time, and so I wanted to volunteer my time, and I started to volunteer at Native Animal Rescue, and they said, "What animals would you like to rehab?" And I thought, I'll do squirrels. I've done squirrels before.
Okay.
And they're like, okay. And then they said, how about raccoons? And I'm like, sure. And so I found that the raccoons were absolutely amazing, and then I started to rehabilitate them more and more, and so now I'm known as the raccoon lady who rehabilitates raccoons. I think it's also important because most people think of raccoons as nuisance animals.
Right.
And so I always want to reinforce that we can live with wildlife and we can live with wildlife harmoniously.
Right. Okay. Has it changed your life, like having her in your life? How has it impacted the way that you go about your day? How did it cause a positive effect, or how has it been?
It's been a mixture of good and bad, because when I first got Miley, she was so afraid of people.
Right.
She was terrified. And that part is really sad to me, that somebody can beat an animal so much that they're really, really scared. The good part is that she walks, and to see that her world is now a better world, that's what gives me hope.
Right, and like I said, she's so friendly, she's so welcoming, and she right now she hopped on my lap, and I thought, oh my god, when I first met her, she wanted to run away when I just reached for her.
Yeah.
So she has improved so much. Really fast, our presentation and everything implies how dogs help us, but I think that it's really important to understand that we can help them as well. And can you tell us what you think the role that dogs play in our community is really about? What do you think, in your own, experience, what do you think dogs are really there for us?
So I think that they help with our mental health. When I see a dog, I usually smile. When I'm walking Miley and people are just walking down the sidewalk, they smile and say, oh, what a cute dog. So it helps our nature, our human being, our nature, how we react in this world. Because we all live very stressful lives and we're always busy, but we can take time for an animal. And I think what's so important about animals is, and I always tell people this, is that animals love your soul. They don't care what color you are, they don't care how tall you are, they just love your soul. And for humans, that's really important to have.
It really is. Is there, just to finish up our interview, which has been great by the way, I really thank you so much for being with us today. Is there any message that you would like to send to our fellow HS74 students?
My biggest message is if you're ever looking for an animal, always go to the animal shelter because there's a lot of stories behind the animals and we literally save a life. And with her, she was not an adoption candidate, so she probably would have been euthanized. She was that terrified.
Yeah.
And you can really save a life. And in return, she can save lives as well.
Right. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure having you.